Ninja Rob podcast with Marco Perazzo and Tim Carpenter. The podcast for the true martial artist.
Yeah, this is where, man, I can't even get started. Yeah, this is, what a difference a week.
You know what's funny? You know what's really funny is you try to act like, oh, it sucks doing with Tim, all this stuff, but you couldn't stop talking about me on the episode.
Yeah,
my name come up several times.
It did. Was any of it complimentary or flattering?
None.
None of it.
Not at all.
And my wife suggested that I never take a day off from the podcast so that it doesn't happen. But I said,
I would never do that to you.
I said, well, the likely happen is he'll not talk about me to irritate me even more.
Exactly. Do we still need to introduce ourselves?
We can. I think by this point, everybody knows who we are, but.
Except for the new listener.
Yeah.
So if you're a new listener, I'm Tim Carpenter.
I am Marco Perazzo. Nice. Hey.
You interrupted my introduction.
I'm sorry.
I didn't finish.
You said you paused.
Well, that's part of being a good speaker is you don't just rush through it. You gotta,
Hopefully that came up.
I'm Tim Carpenter, the owner of Hellfish Mixed Martial Arts.
And I am Marco Perazzo, completely annoyed with Tim Carpenter. Superbly unhappy that NJ's not here because it was just so sublime when I had an Ivy League educated co-host. I'm also an owner of a mixed martial arts academy called New Jersey Martial Arts. And we run the #1 rated podcast in the 19145 area code. Zip code. Whatever. Tim.
Yes.
Hungary. How was it?
Hungary was amazing.
Yeah?
It's my favorite European
destination.
Yeah, it's a country.
So you've been to Portugal, Spain.
I've never been to Portugal.
You didn't go to Portugal?
I've been to Spain.
Okay. France,
Spain, England, Iceland. But I don't know if Iceland's part of Europe. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I would say not, but who knows? What did you use when you were in Iceland? The krona, right?
I don't remember.
Yeah.
I used my card. My credit card.
Right. So you're in Hungary.
Traveled, trained.
You came back fat. What happened?
Super fat. I came back. I think I was about 228 when I left. I came back I didn't weigh myself. I got back Sunday night. I didn't weigh myself till Tuesday afternoon.
Because you were embarrassed to weigh yourself?
I was scared. And I weighed myself Tuesday afternoon. I was 239, which means probably Monday I was probably over 245. So, but it's good. It's all good now. It was all just water weight. I think I'm back to it was 228 this morning.
What do you attribute the 17 pounds that you possibly gained in 10 days, a week?
Eating tons of carbs and salty food, and they eat a lot of pickles over there.
Pickles, yeah, good.
Pickles with every meal. Yeah, it's really good.
Nice,
great pickles. Better than our standard American pickle, I would say.
Better than a regular dill.
I don't know. I mean, I'm not well versed on pickles.
Gotcha.
Not as much as you are, obviously.
Training. You trained with the ZR team?
ZR.
How often? How many training sessions did you get?
I did 2 while I was there.
Okay.
I did two formal training sessions, classes, and rolling, and then I did a couple workouts on my own. And then
how was the training in Hungary?
Training's good.
Yeah.
It was. I was surprised. I went to the day class, and there was first day there was maybe 3 or 4 black belts, including me, and then a bunch of brown and purples and some blues. So
is jiu-jitsu popular in Hungary?
Seems to be getting that way. I talked to the one black belt there, this older guy who was a black belt, and he said he's like, now it's getting popular and guys are getting good. He's like, he said it used to be kind of pretty scarce training. But one guy there, they were all really tough. The one guy there was like a judo black belt too. He had a real hard sort of tough style. But everybody was good. Everybody was friendly.
How was taking class? So I'm assuming they speak Hungarian.
This guy, Max Carvalho.
The Brazilian guy?
He's a Brazilian guy, but he taught in English, which was cool.
Okay.
Didn't teach in Hungarian. I don't think he speaks Hungarian.
That's got to be interesting.
But the thing is, when you travel,
people are multilingual.
Most people, I don't know, most people you interact with, they'll speak or at least be able to understand some English when you go to other countries,
right? Which
is pretty nice as only an English speaking person. But yeah, a lot of guys were able to speak, even if they couldn't communicate with a conversation. You could talk enough to understand. You know, they know enough words to have a small conversation or get something done.
And what would you say that the training was any different any, like stylistically, technically?
I don't think so. I mean, if anything, I would say they train more like a Brazilian school because it's run by a Brazilian guy.
Okay.
You know?
What would that mean to a listener that might not know? What,
I don't know. I'm just saying if there is any difference, I would say if there was any difference, which I don't. I mean, the class was kind of the way I do it: warm up, technique, live rounds, and then free rolling afterwards.
Okay.
So it's like live rounds, like positional sparring. So they were working on back attacks. So the first they were doing back attacks, and then we did positional rounds from the back, trying to submit the guy. The guy's trying to escape. And then the next time I went in, the next class was mostly. I don't think there was any actual technique training. It was just positional training for about an hour, and then live rolling after that.
Okay.
So it was good. Great training.
And you said they were cool and open and
yeah, I've never had a bad
inviting?
experience like visiting any gym.
Yeah,
you know?
like that's the other thing I wanted to get into is like outside of your trip, the extra weight you came back with and your jiu-jitsu training, like visiting, what kind of tips would you give somebody when they visit or they're out of the country and they want to train?
Always find a gym to train at, because it's not just, as long as you're not an asshole and you don't go in there trying to be like beat people up and like prove yourself.
Right.
Like if you just go in there like a normal student, or just, like a normal jiu-jitsu guy, people are gonna, again, as long as you're not an asshole, people are gonna come up to you, make friends with you. They'll give you advice on places to go.
Like to check out.
Yeah,
from
I remember when I was out in California, we went and trained at this gym, bumped into a guy. We're still friends. We still talk on like social media. I took him to another gym that he had always wanted to go to. He ended up like hooking me up with like restaurants and places to go. So it's a great way to, when you go to, especially in another country where you don't know anybody, it's hard to
make some friends,
meet people.
Connections.
You go to a jiu-jitsu school anywhere in the world, you're going to instantly make friends.
Yeah.
If you're
not an
asshole.
The one thing I would
I know it's going to be hard for you, but
come on, bro.
For most people.
That's low hanging fruit. Like everybody was waiting for that one. So I know in Brazil there's some cultural kind of practices in the jiu-jitsu school that if you don't follow them, you kind of get reprimanded a little bit from the. This was back in the day. I don't know if it continues to be this way. Like, if you come onto the mat, you got to shake everybody's hand that's been on the mat before you, kind of like say hello, which is that's cool and whatever. And the other thing is you could never do is take your gi top off, right? You'd have to ask. I don't think if I recall correctly, couldn't take your gi top off, and if you needed to get water, you had to ask permission. Couldn't just go do it. Culturally, like that, whatever, I think as a piece of advice for anybody, and I've visited a ton of schools, is always just ask if there's any rules that you need to know about, right? Because some places heel hook with the gi, other places don't. Okay, we don't start from the feet. This place we do, so forth and so on. So from a standpoint, and I agree with you. I think visiting schools has made me a ton of friends as well.
Yeah. And treat it like when you go to visit somebody's house, you don't just like walk in, open the fridge and start like pulling stuff out of the cupboards and eating. You ask like, hey, is it okay if I use the bathroom? Or, you know what I mean? Right. Like be as respectful to their gym as you would at somebody else's house. That's kind of the way you want to treat it. So when I went in, I shook the instructor. I didn't shake everybody's hand. I'm not going to shake a white belt's hand.
Hey, bro, whatever, like however you operate. But I
shook the instructor's hands and anybody I was.
Yeah, but maybe they don't have that culture there. But I specifically remember in Brazil, if you'd get to the mat first, like anybody that came in after you it was almost like they were obligated to come say hello to you, which that's cool, whatever. And in some places, the instructors would walk around with like a shinai or one of those they're like 3 pieces of bamboo, and they'd hit people if they were making
rattan.
What is it?
Rattan.
A rattan? Don't they make furniture out of rattan? Anyway, they would hit students with it. They kind of just like, no, you're doing
in
it
Brazil?
wrong. Yeah, at some places, not all of them. Yeah.
I'm glad I didn't go there.
Yeah. So how long you been back?
I got back Sunday night.
Big fight to win coming up.
Fight to win. But before that.
Yes.
So I left from JFK. My wife does the travel booking. She books the airlines and stuff. So she thinks it's like cheaper to fly from JFK to Hungary than it is to fly from Philadelphia to Hungary.
I mean, aren't there just easy ways to disprove that?
There are, but like sometimes it is cheaper. Sometimes it's like hundreds and hundreds of dollars. It's like it could be like $600-700 cheaper to fly out of.
Right. I mean, that makes it sense.
But
right.
my question is, I value my time far more than I value money, right? So when you fly into JFK and you live in Philadelphia, let's say you save $600 on your ticket. You pay $200 for parking. Now you're saving $400.
Yes.
And you pay tolls, gas. You may be down to $300.
Then the 4 hours it took you to get up and back.
Right. So then you value, like, what's your time worth?
What do you charge for a private?
$150.
600. You're in the negative. You lost money.
I lost money.
Yeah.
And just, you get home, it's like you're tired.
You want to, like, when you flew 6 hours and you land in the United States, you want to get home in 20 minutes.
As soon as possible.
Right. Not 3 hours.
Not
later.
another 3 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sitting in traffic and shit. So,
well, at least Nikki doesn't listen, so that.
yeah. Thank God she doesn't.
Yeah.
I made that mistake before when I went to Thailand too. The guy I went to Thailand with, Eric.
Crew dog?
He was like, "Oh, you saved so much money flying out of JFK," which I saved. I think of that one, it was like $300. I ended up paying $200 in parking, and then just pure misery I was completely exhausted by the time I got home, and then I had to drive another 2 hours.
Yeah, like when me and Belfort drove you to JFK.
Didn't save any money that time either.
No, you did not. But we came back with a hell of a meal.
Yeah,
with full bellies.
you guys made out well.
Yeah.
So
that was fun. So is there a question in there somewhere?
No,
or
I
is
just
this just
wanted,
like a
I wanted to get
statement?
like your opinion. Like, what would you do? Would you rather save the $500 or would you rather have?
I'd rather have my time.
Right.
Yeah, much rather, because you got to think about it too. You have to get there 3 hours early.
Right.
Right. So you're the 2 hours up. So there's another $5. You're about $1,000 in the hole. Yeah. Your wife owes you $1,000. You may want to go. Speaking of things your wife owes you, how's
Nothing yet.
No?
No.
Timing hasn't been right?
I don't know. You think it'd be a lot easier.
Man.
But they say you have to, at the time, everything's got to line up correctly.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like
have you been consistently?
Yeah.
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 How's your hips?
The hips are good.
Yeah.
Throw it in deep as possible.
Hey man, like what more could you do?
But I'm not too worried about it.
Nah. And the first one, it's sometimes
I've heard some people say it took them, 2 years.
Yeah.
But
Hey.
which seems crazy. It's also, what's a strange thing?
Go ahead.
Is like when you're trying to have a kid, that's like the least sexy thing I can think of.
Trying to have a child?
Trying to make a child.
Okay.
Like I'm doing this to create a child. That's not sexually arousing at all.
It is clearly not.
You know?
No. You're something coming out of your seed. No.
But for anybody, like when you think about like a child, you don't get like, yeah, I can't wait to bang my wife, right?
Yeah. So it's the opposite for her though. It is probably
That's all they think about. Having kids?
I remember times when my wife, when she, like we were trying to, like I would get waken up at 3 a.m. and like just wow.
She had to have it.
Yeah, she needed it, right? It was the and all right. Hey, I'm here to help. I'm here to help.
You're here to help.
I'm here to help. Yeah,
Nice guy.
I do what I do when I can do it. So I think for you it feels like work.
No.
No, it doesn't feel like work.
No, it's just a strange
You're not putting
thing that
a
I
hard hat on and
No, it's just a strange thing that I think about when normally, like I'm not thinking about having a kid when I'm having sex. I've never thought
You're
about.
usually thinking about not
I'm trying
having,
to avoid that.
Yes,
you know what I mean? That's usually the whole goal. So it's my whole life has been trying to avoid that. Now I'm trying to.
That's the opposite. Like it's procreation. That's what it's designed
Well,
for.
I've done more fornication than procreation. I don't think fornication is the same thing.
Gotcha. All right. Yeah,
But,
makes sense.
So, it's not doesn't feel like work. It's just an interesting thing I was thinking about.
In your head.
Yeah.
The things you think about, huh?
This is what happens when you're on a long flight, and also when you're in another country, nobody speaks English.
Except your wife.
Well, yeah, but she's speaking to her family, so
and you're just
I'm just sitting
hey,
there smiling.
I'm the big husband.
Yeah, it's great. That's actually a great.
So what was that like? What's your relationship like with the family? Like, do they like you? Do they not like you?
They love me.
Yeah.
I sit there, I smile. I know how to say thank you.
How do you say thank you?
Fuck.
You knew how to say thank you.
Hold on. I'm not in Hungary anymore. It's Kusanem.
I'm
Kusanem. And then
I'm
you're
called-
welcome would be Sibashem.
I don't believe it. I want proof.
And if you meet an old lady, you say chokolom.
Why?
It means like I kiss you.
And do you physically give her the kiss, or
They do the double-sided
the proverbial thing.
the kiss into the air. Everybody does that over there, but it was cool. Yeah, the family's really nice. They all understand a little bit of English and can say a few words. So, you know.
Yeah, that's cool. And I mean, they like you, and you enjoyed yourself, right? I mean, there's an unbelievable amount of history there.
But the cool thing, my favorite days were the training days because we would go train for like 2 hours.
Okay.
And then
Nikki went too, or
she didn't train.
Oh, because she hung out.
Yeah,
because her family's tied into the boxing community there, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. She has like an uncle that's connected with like the Olympic boxing team. We went in there and trained last year, but then we would go train, and then we would go to they have a lot of these like thermal baths,
like a Russian sauna,
sort of like a Russian sauna, but they're these huge buildings with like multiple rooms of pools and stuff.
Hot, cold, or just hot?
They have both. They have the sauna and the ice bath. And then they have these warm pools. They have the pools of different temperatures. They have like a cool one, a warm one, and then a more.
You can like graduate from one to the other.
So it's cool. You just kind of like drift around.
Is it co-ed?
Yeah. Not nude though.
Not nude co-ed. All right, good.
So that was cool. It was like training and then relaxing and then eating. That was most of my trip.
Awesome. What weight do you have to be for fight to win?
230.
Where are you now?
I was 228 this morning.
Okay, so you're
I'm good. I was worried because originally my last fight to win match was 215. So I was going to do 220 at this one, but then while I was in Hungary, I could feel that I was well over 230. So he offered me an opponent at 230. I said, yeah, that's cool.
And Tyler King? Mm-hmm. And do we know anything about this guy?
No, we don't. He was on The Ultimate Fighter. He got knocked out real quick on The Ultimate Fighter.
Well, thank God for him. It's not MMA then.
Yeah. But he's got a bunch of MMA fights. I don't know too much about him. He won the Nogi Worlds at brown belt, I believe.
Thank God for you. This is
Absolute. Yeah. He won the Absolute. And I watched some of those matches, and it looked like he was going up against like smaller guys and just kind of like bullied him around. I think I'll be okay. I think I'll do well.
You compete well. I mean, and that's if you've never done that format before, I think it's an interesting format. I'm a fan of fight to win.
I really like fight to win. I think I like tournaments more, because the single fight, it's like I'm somewhat of a slow starter. Like I like to have like a warm up match and then get in. Then I feel like I'm in the groove. And then I can like do the next several matches.
No, but literally as a fan, it's fun to.
It's a great show.
It's really cool to see jiu-jitsu people get. We've always wanted the Muay Thai or like the amateur boxers have their, this one guy versus one guy, people there cheering them on. It's not as easy to do as at a tournament to get 500-600 people watching one match.
It's cool I think it's really cool for like up and coming jiu-jitsu guys and just black belts in jiu-jitsu that you feel like you're in an MMA fight almost. Like you're the center of attention. You walk out. You're backstage warming up. It's like
you have music, like it's everything.
You get the build up of an MMA fight without getting punched in the face.
And I would highly recommend for anybody working through their process of becoming an MMA fighter is getting on some fight to wins just to get some walkout experience.
Yeah.
The walkout's not anything new to you.
The crowd's different. Like a lot. There's I've talked to several guys that do very well in tournaments where you're not really the center of attention, and then to go out and everybody's just watching you, and it's kind of quiet and like. It's a lot different under those conditions than it is being, one among many at a tournament.
Right. Yeah. The crowd's really nowhere near you at a tournament for the most part. Right. Yeah. So it's essentially located.
So it's a super cool show. I like doing it. I'm 2-1.
That one loss was kind of sketch, though. You should have.
That was bullshit, but whatever.
Yeah. I mean, when you leave it in the judge's hands,
still a loss.
You had 3 matches. So Booth,
Kenneth Brown.
Okay.
Drew Puzan.
Okay. All right. Nice.
YouTube sensation Kenneth Brown.
Don't know who he is.
He's big on YouTube.
Awesome. Yeah. Congrats to him and his YouTube famed status. So where do you think your preparation is? Because you're about like a week away from this thing.
Prep's great. I'm not really doing anything special. I'm trying to lose some weight. So.
I mean, I've known you for years. You're never kind of out of shape.
Nah,
but you're always training hard.
Yeah. So, and I think for anybody that's looking to compete, especially if you have the closer you can make the competition to your normal experience of training and stuff, the better. I don't like making a fight camp and having this huge build up for it, that's putting a lot of undue pressure on you. Like when you're just going out there and doing jiu-jitsu. It's what you do when you train.
Right.
You know? So the closer you can make the experience to that. So the way I felt the best, whether it was fighting or jiu-jitsu, was not doing like a fight camp super focused on like, I got to get this opponent or prepare for this, whatever he's going to do. It's just a matter of like constantly training and getting better and being comfortable. You know, you should be ready to compete if you're offered a match tomorrow, a week from now, 2 weeks from now,
8 weeks from
or
now.
8 weeks from now.
Right.
Yeah, it shouldn't really change how you approach it.
So what benefits would a grappling fight camp have for somebody though? You know, like
if you don't normally train consistently or hard
or super hard or
yeah, if you're not in great shape, like some people just roll, they do, you know, you might want to get in better shape, but like I said, a lot of your conditioning in a tournament or a match is due to your nerves, not your actual conditioning.
the failure of your conditioning.
Right. Like if you can roll 5-minute rounds in training, there's no reason you can't do a 10-minute match.
But now these super teams, you know, like Danaher or Atos, like they set up specific camps. You know, like
I don't know if they do or not. I know they're always training. They always have
training,
competition.
But I know
training.
that there's kind of certain level. You know, like it seems like they kick it up a notch as well.
They might
you know?
pick up the intensity for it, but again, those guys are pretty much ready to compete anytime. They're not, because those guys are competing year round,
right?
You know, so they're constantly in camp. Which that's what I mean. You should always be in camp and just adjust the intensity. So like this, I'm gonna do maybe 2 weeks where I pick up the training a little bit more intense. I might do some more intense matches over the next 2 weeks, but other than that, it's just normal.
You think Tyler King's listening?
I hope so.
You want to tell him what you're going to do to him?
I'm gonna fuck him up.
Yeah. How?
I don't know.
Because you're going to decide when you're on the walkout.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
So like realistically, are you setting up a game plan for yourself? What you'd like to do? We don't have to get into specifics.
Yeah, I'm probably gonna pull guard, go for sweeps and submissions. I don't know.
Like you do in every match.
Yeah, I'm gonna go out there and do what I want to do.
Now, how about and this falls into what I wanted to get into next is the idea of being a creonte, right? And we've talked about this before when we did Lex Fridman's podcast.
What does that translate into?
I forget the literal translation of it. It doesn't mean traitor. I believe creonte was a character on a Brazilian soap opera who was a backstabber.
Okay.
And Carlson Gracie would call you a creonte because if you left his team or if you left the school, then he was like, you were that kind of guy. But we had talked about this before where, you know, like high level athletes train with each other, compete against each other. Like creonteism isn't a big deal. And it seems like recently Fabio Gurgel came out and said that, you know, what people should be able to train wherever they want. Mm-hmm. Right. Has it ever affected you as a, you know, like a high level competitor, high level fighter where somebody said, I might potentially have to fight you or compete against you, so you can't be here?
I've had some training sessions set up with people, and the guy was like, you know, nobody can know about this. The training session never happened, but it was like being set up. Like I wanted to train, and he's like, "Oh, we got to make sure nobody knows about this." I was like, "All right, whatever, man." And then, but it just ended up never happening.
What was the reason why nobody could know about it?
I guess maybe he wasn't allowed to train with other people.
Okay.
He also said, like, he's like, what if we ever end up fighting? I was like, well, if we end up fighting,
the better man will win.
Yeah, like, well, then we'll fight. Like, hopefully
it'll
be for some money or something. You know,
right?
Like, who cares? You know.
But you have some schools that are, you know, like even from a grappling standpoint, they're like, no, you can't. What if he knows your best stuff?
Yeah, that doesn't. There's no secrets.
Right. You should be able to tell your opponent what you're going to do. If you're that good, you should be able to go out and do it.
Exactly. Yeah. Like. Everybody knows what Gary Tonon's going to do. He's going to go for heel hooks and stuff on you. And then he goes out there and he heel hooks people.
Right.
You know, everybody knows what everybody knows what Hadra Gracie's going to do, and he does it. So you can't rely on trickery to win consistently.
Right,
you know?
right. I mean, it might be able to help you in a hairy situation or some sort of trick.
The only thing I would say is like, let's say I train at your place for 5 years and I train with all your guys, and then I go to a gym down the street, and that gym is like your competitor. You're like they have a guy for each of your guys that ends up competing with each other all the time, and then he's saying like, oh, he's susceptible to this guard pass, or he's susceptible to this takedown easy. Like that's a dick move.
Right. But I
But
mean,
still
it
not
could
going to
also
make it's not going to make a difference.
Right.
You know,
like, because if he's susceptible to it, but if that opportunity never arises, then whatever, I could still be susceptible to it, and it never happens. So.
right. So that would be a creonte. I don't know if, let's say creonte is just a backstabber. They exist,
For sure.
but
people that leave schools
doesn't mean you're a backstabber.
Right,
You're a backstabber if you're a backstabber.
Yes.
You know,
Agreed.
If you stab people in the back, then
Yeah,
you're a backstabber.
yes,
But if you just go train somewhere else,
Well, that's the other thing too. A lot of instructors are like, "No, you can't, Tim. You can't." I've never had it. Well, I shouldn't say. I was told that I shouldn't do what I was doing.
yeah, I went when I was a blue belt. I went and trained at Almeida's gym,
Yes, I was there.
and and then I remember telling Steve Maxwell, I was like, "Oh, I went over to Almeida's gym." He's like, "Oh, you shouldn't do that."
Yeah.
But he wasn't mad. He was just kind of like trying to discourage me from it. He was like, you don't want to train with other people. He's like, I don't even remember really what he said. He was just trying to discourage me, but he wasn't mad about it. He wasn't.
Well, I think you had a good relationship with them in
Yeah.
the sense, that more so than other people did.
Yeah.
With the Maxwells. But similar conversations that I had, but a little less nice. And kind of like, well, what do you need that for? And I was like,
Yeah.
This is a cool community. Like, we're cool. We're friends.
I don't need it.
Yeah.
I just did it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. No,
I wanted to do it.
Right. Now it's an odd way to enforce loyalty as well. Yeah, like a student's
You
loyal.
should inspire loyalty. You shouldn't force it.
Exactly. Yes. You are one.
And I think you inspire more loyalty by being like, yeah, go ahead, train.
Check it out.
Yeah,
And if it winds up being, and we've touched upon this in other podcasts, like if it's better, it's better. It's like if it's more for you, it's more for you. Like,
Yeah, I mean, it's quite possible somebody could be at your gym that's not a good fit for your gym, and they're a better fit at another gym.
Right.
And if they leave, so you lose a couple $100 a month or whatever. It's a win for you. You don't have somebody that's not a fit at your gym. You made space for somebody that will fit into your gym better.
But I think if you're open to it and just like, hey, I've gotten really good students because their instructors were like, no, you're not allowed to go there, and they're like, they don't have that same policy there. They let anybody,
Yeah.
like whatever. So yeah, you shouldn't force it. You should inspire it. I think.
And I think that's an old mentality too, the creonte mentality. Like I see even in Brazil, like those guys seem to be training together all the time. Like if you, so I'm a member, I have Flow Grappling, so I can see all these things. But you see on Flow Grappling, they always put up videos of like guys from competing schools training together, hanging out.
So a lot of those guys hold a double standard. They can do it, but their students can't. They'll say, okay, it's okay for me, not okay for you.
How do you know?
I've heard it, seen it.
Heard it from where? Seen it from where?
Guys. They'll remain nameless. Guys with Flow Grappling accounts. But seriously, like you'll see those guys, but if their students were to do the same thing, it doesn't sit very well with the instructor. Do as I say, not as I do, kind of idea. And then you'll see that a lot in some of the schools that might not be run as openly as we run ours or other people run theirs.
Yeah.
But I think there's all high level judo guys from different weight classes, different teams, different countries will get together and train. And
Same thing with wrestling.
yeah. So why?
It's a mentality that holds you back. It's not gonna.
We're not in gangs. Right? Not to rehash like
Some
stuff
of
that we
us
talk-
are.
Crip blood. What do you-
Not me. I'm just saying some of us are.
okay.
There are gangs.
So yeah, I think it is an old mentality. The whole backstabber thing. Just because somebody leaves a school doesn't make them a backstabber. Like you said, if they're a backstabber, they're a backstabber.
Yeah.
And they happen to leave your school.
Right. And you're lucky if they're a backstabber and they leave your school. That's a good thing.
They've done you. They've
happy
done you a
about
favor. And most of the time, the people that have left my school for odd reasons, I've always had a realization that I didn't realize some things about them.
Yeah, you didn't. You look back at it, it's like, oh, I didn't really want him here anyway.
Well, right, but I was like, oh man, I let a lot of stuff go that I shouldn't have let go, right? Because I either liked the guy, I thought I had a personal relationship with him or her, and then I realized, oh man, this guy was a bit of a douche, or did things that I would have maybe gotten mad at other students. So speaking of getting mad at other students, do you do the gauntlet at your school?
Whipping them with the belt.
Yes.
I've done it a couple times. I think I've done it with black belt. I don't do it now.
No.
I think I have done it in the past, but it's always been like just like kind of a fun, goofy thing. It's never been like a.
I hate the gauntlet.
I think I don't have an issue with it.
So for those of you who don't know what the gauntlet is, you get promoted, people line up down the center of your school, and you either walk, sprint, or run with your gi off, and people whip the crap out of you with your belts, with their belts.
Yeah, I mean, I understand the mentality behind it. It's just like it's a little bit of a
help me understand.
It's a rite of passage.
Passage to what?
To the next belt, to progression.
I thought the handing of the belt was the passage.
And then this is like a fun little it's like college hazing. It's what
people have died during college hazing, but that's
people died during the Gauntlet.
I don't know. I digress.
I have seen people bleed during the Gauntlet. I've seen people. A guy took his gi off, and another guy, instead of whipping him, slapped him barehanded on the back and left broke the skin.
I know both of those guys.
You were better. But I mean, they were like hugging each other at the end of the line. It was a very friendly thing.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Just like whipping a guy walking shirtless. Not.
So you're sexualizing it. So that says to me that you have some sort of insecurity that you might get turned on during the Gauntlet. That's too bad NJ's not here now. We could really work this out.
You're clearly not qualified to make statements like that. What I do think that it is it's another aspect of dehumanizing a student.
I think you're thinking way too much.
I don't know. I mean, just whipping, like physically whipping a human being.
It's not. Well, so okay. If they tied the guy up to the wall and then the instructor sat there and whipped him repeatedly, that's one thing. If you walk down a line
and
everybody in the class just slaps you on the back, some guy, and then occasionally a guy will whip you really hard.
I think
it's also different if everybody's doing it, then we're all in it together.
It's a gang initiation.
Exactly. It's like getting jumped into a gang. It's
cool.
It's no different.
Oh yes. So that's what we want.
I'm not saying I don't want it. I just get it. I understand. There's nothing wrong with it.
I think it's okay.
It's a human thing that people do. It's a rite of passage.
It's a human thing that people do. Whipping another human being is a human thing.
You ever see the?
I want the name of this podcast. The human thing that we do is whip each other. Okay.
Well, okay. It could be worse. There's some places do circumcision when boys turn 18. Some people
how do we go down this rabbit hole?
These are rites of passage in different cultures throughout the world. It's a human thing. Like when you're involved in I'm sure they have things like that in baseball and football and soccer.
They hit each other with bats, maybe.
Probably not bats, but they probably do some sort of. You probably got to drink out of a guy's cup or something. I don't know, but yeah, I don't have an issue with it. I don't think it's as dehumanizing and sexualized as you're making it out to be.
Again, you keep saying sexualizing. I think you're trying to deflect, and that's fine, right? We
deflect what?
All of us see what you're doing, and that's okay, right? So
who's all of us?
I
think me and Devin are on the same page. It's just getting jumped into a gang.
It's a gang thing, but I think that's terrible. This is a gang thing.
All right.
Okay,
we're on the same page halfway on both sides. But
so cool. So you're okay with whipping humans? That's fine. I get it, and I'm not.
It's not against their will.
I get it, but they're kind of almost tricked into it.
I don't think so. I think a lot of people they enjoy it.
Oh man,
they enjoy the acceptance.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
but not the actual.
Well,
you want to join the gang, you want to become blood, but you don't want to necessarily get jumped in, but you got to.
Yeah, but that's okay. So you want to be good at jiu-jitsu, but you're not going to get good at jiu-jitsu if you don't get fucked up a lot along the way. It's just a.
Yeah. So what is getting the?
It's a symbolic way of doing that.
How does getting whipped get you better at jiu-jitsu?
It's just the way gets you getting jumped in.
But does it get you better at jiu-jitsu?
Why not just jump them in?
You could do that too.
Right.
I mean, that's what. So, at my promotions, I put people through a very hard training session.
Okay.
And I've seen you do it too. You scream at people, "Don't you give up!" You dehumanize people while they're training, and then you promote them. So let's not pretend that you're this high and mighty. This is dehumanization of these poor people being whipped. Come on, man. Come on, stop. Let's move on. This is silly.
So this is another tactic of people like you
pointing out facts of how you dehumanize people.
No, getting very, very specific and trying to make false equivalencies.
We're talking about a very specific thing.
But you're trying to say, well, you do this, so this is okay. No. Because I did something in the past doesn't make whatever I did in the past right. Okay?
I never said it was right.
Right. But you're trying to then say
it's not a false equivalency. You're all of a sudden speaking out about how a silly little rite of passage is dehumanizing and abusive. That's
I never said the term abusive.
Okay. It's dehumanizing.
Okay.
All right. So I think you're just making way too much out of it. It's just a silly thing that some schools do. If it was something where like a lot of times they film this and they put it up on YouTube and everybody laughs about it.
Right.
You're making it out to be some like dark, insidious thing. It's just a silly rite of passage. You know? How about this? How about we ask some of the listeners their opinion on it, and we ask if there's any other sports that they know of rites of passage where they have to do something that's not that pleasant.
Okay.
You know?
That's fine. Or more dehumanizing.
Or more dehumanizing.
Yeah,
or
yeah.
if they think that the Gauntlet is dehumanizing or Marco's just being hyperbolic.
I think it's pronounced hyperbaric. So Tim is okay with whipping humans in general. I get it. I am not. At some point when I would promote people, I would actually want them to quit to see if you could break them mentally. But I don't understand. This person has gone through the promotion. It's clearly see they haven't broken mentally. And this rite of passage, I don't understand the idea of this. What does this rite of passage do? Like a rite of passage, go out and kill yourself a buffalo and bring it back.
What does that do?
It feeds your people.
Okay.
You've shown shown that you could be an active, good hunter for your people and bring them food.
Let's go through some other rites of passage.
Yes.
And there's a tribe in Papua New Guinea where they have to ingest the semen of like every man in the tribe. What does that do for that child?
Ridiculous.
All right.
Dehumanizing.
It's dehumanizing?
Yeah.
I think it's very humanizing.
Man,
what about
a week in
Hungary?
Hungary?
The other one, the bullet ant glove? They got to stick their hand.
What is it?
It's a glove filled with bullet ants, and you put your hand in it. You got to sit there and not react to it while they shred your hand. Another tribe?
What culture? Because you were very specific about the Papua New Guineans, so I'm curious.
I think this is in South America somewhere.
Where in South America?
Brazil. Let's say Brazil. It's in Brazil, wherever the bullet ants are.
So again,
and then there's African tribes. Like I said, they circumcise a kid when he turns like 15. So,
awesome, great.
You know what I mean? What does that do?
Must be awesome for him.
And also, I think with women, don't they cut their clits off? I think that's also a rite of passage.
Female circumcision.
That's another rite of passage.
So, and
those
agree,
those are dehumanizing.
Wait, you think all these things, the way you're espousing them, and saying these things are right and great for those cultures, they have made some great cultures. All these practices have helped these cultures come to the forefront of humanity. The Papua New Guineans, who the fuck are they?
That's what I'm saying.
Right?
These are rites of
people.
passage that dehumanize.
Right, the fire ant people. Where are they? Have they? They don't even know where computers are.
Right.
Go ahead.
You're talking making a false equivalency because you're not saying what I'm saying.
No. So, but these rites of passage have done nothing to help their cultures become first world. You're talking,
but for them it does.
No,
for them it does.
So you're okay with bringing a third world practice to the first world? Open sewers, shitting in the street.
No. I'm okay with the Gauntlet.
Okay, third world practice.
That's not a third world practice.
Okay.
Is Brazil third world?
Yes.
It is?
It is.
I don't think so.
You don't because
they have their economy, big cities and running water.
Their economy would show you differently.
But well, let's say, where does jiu-jitsu come from? Jiu-jitsu comes from the city, Rio, from wealthy people in Rio.
Jiu-jitsu comes from Japan.
Right. Brazilian jiu-jitsu. What about Brazilian jiu-jitsu?
From Brazil.
What part of
so let me
wealthy people in Rio.
So because you're such an international traveler, how many times have you been to Brazil?
Never.
Okay. How many times have I been to Brazil?
Several.
5.
But I'm going on what you've told me.
Brazil was a third world country during the Cold War times. No, it is not a third world country anymore.
Exactly. And Marco himself has told me
it's second world
that jiu-jitsu was the martial art of wealthy people in Brazil because they could afford the gis, whereas like the luta livre guys could not afford the gis. So the guys in the slums train no gi.
In Sunga.
Right. But the rich people train with the gis on.
So
I'm just saying it's a first world country. Don't try to make it out like it's a third world.
Because there's rich people, it makes it a first world country?
No. Don't try to act like Brazil is a third world country. Is what I'm saying.
It is a third. Like so. I watch interviews with Henzo, and Henzo will say, "Rapaz," that means like, dude, was a third world country. We come from a third world country.
What?
No, but you'll listen to Henzo and the Gracies, and they talk about we come from a third world country. It wasn't civilized, right? These are
It is civilized.
Not in the greater whole country.
Not out in the rainforest. Yes, you're right. Where they're doing the
so-
bullet ant gloves, not
Right,
civilized.
so-
Where they're doing the gauntlet with jiu-jitsu, civilized, first world. Out in the country,
Man, I would
not
not.
civilized.
I think Rio is a great city. I don't think it's as civilized as you think it is.
South Philadelphia. First world or third world?
Are there shades of gray?
Nope. Because I've lived in South Philly.
Okay.
Good parts of it are third world.
Running water,
Some.
electricity.
Some.
Does Uber Eats deliver to your door?
Depends on where you live in South Philly.
When's the last time you lived in South Philly?
Been years.
Yeah, so they deliver all over South Philly. Yeah. So in the slums in Rio, where the kids live, right, where they have to steal, the poor people steal electricity. They don't.
People in everywhere in South Philly steal electricity. What are you talking? They steal electricity. They steal cable. Steal internet.
So when
grappling.
when very personal attack here. All right.
Let's move on to another. Let's stop talking about third world country. I'm tired of this. The Gauntlet's not as bad as it's just.
Hey,
it's a silly little.
What do you, bro? You just decide when we move on.
It's getting old and boring.
All right, you're wrong. Get it, and you just want to end it. Cool. Moving on. So we could let the listeners, man, because the energy in the show was super terrible until we got into that. This was now we really Devin got in. He was fact checking. This has been great. All right, so Tim, you fall on the side of dehumanization through jiu-jitsu.
Yep.
I fall on the side of empowering people through the martial arts. Cool. Moving on. Weird things at your school. Do you want me to read this?
No, that's it. We've been talking about weird things at my school, and I've had an inordinate number of transgender individuals.
What's inordinate? Inordinate.
How
many?
More than ordinary.
So how many?
How many? I'm at 4 or 5 now.
Okay.
So how many have you had in your gym?
I don't think any. 0.
Exactly. That's what most of the people I know that have gyms have no experience with this.
But if you go to 8 limbs,
They probably have
quite a few.
an inordinate number. Proportional to the population.
Okay. So did you
pretty
even
small.
tell people what the inordinacy is? You have an inordinate amount of what?
Transgender individuals. I said that.
I didn't hear you. I'm sorry.
Transgender individuals
My eyesight's a
have,
lot better. My hearing's still shitty.
trained at my gym.
So
Just the Chalfont gym, though. Not in Bridgeport.
Bridgeport does not have any transgenders.
I didn't say that.
The school in Bridgeport.
The school has not.
that you know of.
I would know. I'm somewhat of an expert now.
Appar-
I can spot them from a mile away.
Apparently. So what's the problem?
There's no problem. I just thought it is a weird thing that
a human being walked through your doors and wants to take classes with you? Yeah, a very
Well, no,
very
let
weird
me
thing
tell you
that
what's-
any human wants to take
I'll
classes
tell you a
with
couple of the weird things I've experienced.
Go ahead.
So I've had a student that was a girl for over a year, and then comes in, and I'm informed that she's now a boy with a different name.
So she came in. She was born a girl,
She's a biological woman,
born biologically a woman.
female with
She
a
was
female
trained with
name.
you for a year,
Trained with me for a year.
and then said, "Hey,
One day came in, the mom tells me, "Oh, it's now a boy, and a different name.
it's now a boy."
She, them, they."
Okay, all right. I just want to be clear because it's still.
So that was the first one.
All right. So let me ask you about that.
Mhm.
How did you notice?
No change. No change at all in appearance or anything.
Nothing.
I think maybe she stopped shaving her legs.
Okay.
That's about it. But there was no change in personality or.
Were you surprised when the mom came to you, or?
I mean, it was a teenager, so yes and no. Like I was surprised that like the mom would go along with that, but also like instead of just like being like, well, she's a teenager, like
this is a phase.
Let's let her,
Like she's got green hair. Hopefully she grows out of it.
Yeah, that kind of thing. But I was totally cool with it. I called them by their name.
Or
And
their preferred pronoun.
Their preferred. Well, I messed that up a couple times.
And people got to give other people slack on that, right?
I think so.
You
You see how hard it is just for us to talk about.
right.
But so that was the first one. Second one was
Are they still training? The first one.
No, they moved.
They moved. Okay.
Yeah.
Did you notice anything once so went from female to male, right? The
Mm-hmm.
transition. Any change? Like
I don't
in
know,
dealing
like,
with you.
No, it was the same
It was
person.
the same person.
Like I don't know if at that age they would put them on hormones or anything like that.
Okay.
So I don't know if to me it just seemed like they wanted to change their name and be something else.
Okay.
The first one. Second one, another person that trained at my gym. Very ambiguous at first.
Like androgynous almost, or
Yeah, yeah.
like you couldn't tell it's a boy.
Couldn't
it's a
tell,
girl?
but it was the parent signed them up and said that it was a she.
Okay.
She was a she. They were a she.
But you don't know if that's biologically.
No, biologically,
Oh,
and then
okay,
but
born.
now, so I still see this person sometimes at a business somewhere. They don't train with me anymore.
Okay.
And now it's a feminine looking person with like terrible facial hair. So I'm assuming that they're on.
So
She was female to male, I believe.
Okay.
Okay. Then I had another one who came in, and I presented as a woman. So it was a trans woman, trans girl.
Okay.
And when she first came in, I was like, I had like a second. I saw and heard the voice, and I was like, something off with this person. I don't know what it is, but I was like, oh, come on in, like, let's train. Very young, like I think 17 or 18. And I found out later through another student that had gone to high school with this person that was originally a boy that had gone through the entire process and was now a female.
The
Surgery, hormone surgery,
reassignment?
everything. Yeah.
Oh wow.
And
I mean that's a level of commitment there.
yeah, especially at 17, 18 years old.
Yeah, tough one to come back from, I guess, right?
I don't think you can.
I don't know.
Can't come back from the surgery.
Well, how does a woman become a man?
No, this was a man that became a woman, boy that became a girl.
Right, but could and a woman become like again?
I don't think they can slice it up, turn it inside, and then pull it back out.
And reconstruct.
I don't think they can. They might be able to make something, but I don't think they can take the original equipment and like
and put
cut
it
it up
back.
and then put it back to normal.
Gotcha.
I don't think so.
Right. Clearly, we're no experts in the
No, but it's-
in the surgery.
I think Meathead Matt is. He did a lot of research into it.
So 3, and now
So that was 3, and then the other day I had someone call the gym. They're in from out of town. He's like, "Oh, my son, he competes in karate. I'm trying to get him a workout in while we're visiting. Is it okay if he stops into your class?" I was like, "Yeah, bring him in." So dad walks in. I'm talking to the dad, and then the son walks in, and it's obviously a 12-year-old girl,
Okay.
like a tomboy. Like,
Okay.
and the dad was like, "Oh, this is my son." I was like, "Hey, how's it going?" And I don't like.
What's up, buddy?
Yeah. Same way I would treat anybody. Just shake the
Yeah.
hands, like, "Hey, this is the
Hey,
mat. This is the
pal.
gym." Yeah.
Yeah.
And then again, I'm like, it's very surreal. Like if you've never experienced it, it's surreal to have. So if Devin was like, "Yeah, I'm a girl. My name's Davina," and he didn't change anything about himself, and he just was like, and you're like, "Yo, Devin," he's like, "No, it's Davina."
Davina.
Yeah, like, "I'm a woman. Please treat me like a woman." Like that's how. Like, look at him now, and he tells you he's a woman. You would feel a little bit awkward.
Especially having known him as Devin for all that time.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Like,
for
you
sure.
know, so that's what it's kind of like. And then
But you don't have like these Devin and I are actually like friends, right? You know, so that would be a bit different.
no, I'm just anybody that you see as a man,
Right.
and then somebody's like, "Oh no, that's a girl," and you're like,
So does this affect your teaching? Does it
"No,
affect
not at all. No,
your
it's
business?
I just find it interesting. I find it strange that I've had this many come into that gym.
Well, what I
come into
find
the doors of
strange is that we've had a couple people transition while at your school. Maybe there's something
in the water
about you.
about the teaching.
Yes.
Well, I am very accepting of all genders.
Does it change the way like you train them or them fighting with?
No, so I had the one that I was a little concerned about was the male to female.
The one your student knew from high school?
Yes.
Okay.
Because she was a very aggressive girl. I wouldn't let her train with any girls at one point because she was like fucking girls up. She would go at him like Meathead Matt.
Yeah, I've experienced.
Imagine that, like, but uncontrollable aggression on
And
like
terrible technique?
a bigger girl versus a smaller girl. You know what I mean? That's what it was like. She competed in a tournament and got smoked, but it's because like
Against a girl?
against a girl
Okay.
and got smoked. But she was that was after like a week of training and she didn't really know anything. But and I found out later through some of the other guys that like they're like, yeah, she would always talk about her vagina during training. She'd always like reference her vagina. Like say, oh my God, you hit me in my vagina. Like she kept like saying it like over and over.
In my vajayjay.
Yeah. So
That would just be odd to hear from anybody.
anybody, yeah. And most women don't talk like that. Like if you
you've brushed upon my vagina.
yeah, they wouldn't
Yeah.
they
Yeah,
wouldn't
but it's new, so I get it.
yeah.
Gotta keep it shiny.
So but then the most recent one was just and then I was talking to the dad later,
This is the Karate Kid?
the Karate Kid was out on the mat training, doing the class.
You pulled dad to the side and said,
No, I was just talking to dad. He was telling me he was obviously proud of his son. But at one point he said she, and then I was like, oh, okay. And he's like, I mean, he caught himself. He had said she and then caught himself and corrected it back to he. But like if you saw this young man, you would clearly see it.
So, I mean, look.
It's just a surreal experience to be talking about.
There's an actual diagnosis for people that go through this, right? Was it gender dysmorphia?
Who knows? Who knows?
Wait. You cannot say who knows because I've heard you say this term
There's
before.
gender dysphoria.
Dysphoria, okay.
Yeah.
Or just, I'm sorry
But
for misspeaking.
like, I'm not qualified to make it.
No, I'm not
and
asking you,
so,
but there is some, like, so the medical community has come out in some way or another and said that this is an actual,
mental illness.
is that what they're saying?
I believe so. We'd have to ask NJ, but I believe it's in the DSM, the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual.
All right. So, but it's something that people go
But
through.
I don't think they,
Who's they?
transgender people,
Okay.
I don't think they like to be classified that way.
Well, obviously not.
Right. They don't, you don't want to say you have gender dysmorphia. You don't want to tell someone, or they don't want to hear, you're saying they don't want to hear you have gender dysmorphia. Or what is dysmorphia or dysphoria? Dysphoria, sorry.
Dysphoria, yeah.
So I loved how earlier you didn't know what the term was, and now you can
Well, you
correct
said
me.
the wrong term. But I'm saying I don't know how to diagnose. I don't know. So the one that had everything cut off, and I would say that person has gender dysphoria.
Okay.
Like it's probably, you could diagnose that. A girl that walks into the gym and says she's a boy, I would say that's a teen, especially a 12-year-old or a 14-year-old girl that says she's a boy. I would be like, she's probably just going through a phase, most likely.
Okay.
But when they go to the stage of like, no, I think nowadays, I think it's,
I don't know, man. It's such a, like, it's, I don't remember. I'm 47. How old are you?
39.
And Dev, you're
Be 39 next week.
39, right? I don't remember any of this.
It's a very new thing.
Right. Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
a whole-
Like,
there's
and I'm not
another-
saying it wasn't happening, but I just don't recall any of this happening. Like I never, like I had no
There's
idea.
another thing called rapid onset gender dysphoria, which is, they say it's a social.
Man, you've really, like, in 10 minutes, you've become an expert in this field.
Listen,
Go
my
on.
mom is a dude. My mom has won a fist fight against a full-grown man like
Does she say that she's
three years ago.
Does she act like a man?
Yes.
But does she say that?
my mom is a man? Like
Do you call her
says
dad or
no,
Okay.
no, she's mommy,
Okay.
but
What's her
she's
name?
Jocelyn. But people call her Jay. She don't like to be called Jocelyn.
So she's not a lesbian.
yes,
But she is a lesbian.
Yes.
Okay.
But what I'm saying is, she just hid that she felt more like
Masculine.
her whole, like for a long
Does
time.
she say she's a man or does she say
No,
she's
no.
a woman?
No, she's a woman.
But she knows she's a woman.
I mean,
But she's a
breasts.
she's a
But what I'm
masculine
saying
woman.
No,
is
no, she- I mean,
mentally. I'm saying
she
mentally.
procreated.
I'm saying mentally.
Mhm.
She's a dude.
She probably has like higher testosterone. than
She's
most
like
women.
ready to rock.
Yeah. But that's yeah. So the rapid onset, they say it's like a social contagion, like because of like social media, people see these things. A kid that would normally be like a weirdo in high school might be like, oh,
Get accepted by
yeah,
this group.
like by this group. But there's like nobody knows that with all mental stuff. There's no real test you can do. It's all just you just look at symptoms and you say that's what it is.
Yeah, no,
you know?
yeah,
So
yeah.
It's not like
There's no blood
that's what I'm
test.
saying when
There's
you
no
say
blood test that you could do.
right. That's what
yeah.
I'm saying. Like who knows what it is? But
No, it's crazy. I mean, number one, it's interesting because I've been running a school for 13 years.
Mhm.
No, longer. I've been owning a school for 13 years, and I've never had
For me, this all happened in the last like 3 years.
Yeah, I haven't had anybody come through. So maybe they feel like you're an ally
I am.
to the cause.
Yeah.
All right, awesome.
I support
so
their,
you're going out there on the record saying that you're an ally to the LGBTQT and whatever society.
just the G's
What's
and
the G's?
the gays.
Okay, not the L's.
L's are G's.
Okay, lesbian, gay.
B's are G.
What's bisexual?
They're G.
All right.
So there's G.
Q. What's Q?
Queer, I think it's just weird people.
Okay, so
Like-
you're not an ally to the queer.
I could do without the queer.
Okay. By the way, guys, Ninja Now podcast about jiu-jitsu, mixed martial arts. We touch all subjects. So
No, I don't know what I
not
actually
so-
don't,
not
I don't
so
know what the
much-
Q is.
I think you just said queer.
I said what I think it is. It's queer, but I don't know what that
but
means.
you're not an ally to the queer.
I don't know what it means. I can't say whether I'm an ally or not. If
Are
somebody
you,
gives
an,
me,
are you an ally to the queer?
I don't know.
Wait, you just said no a minute ago. You're on the record.
Can I take
It's
that
a
back?
confusing. It's a confusing thing. So I get.
Yeah. So like
And the T is trans.
the T,
Are you
I'm,
an ally
I'm
to
an
T?
ally to the T's. The G's and the T's.
Let me ask you: do you think some of the women that fight MMA, like Amanda Nunes, you don't think that she?
Well,
pretty
she's a
much-
lesbian.
Yeah, I get
Yeah,
that,
yeah.
but you don't feel like that person probably feels most likely like, or a lot of them
I
feel
think
like
she's a woman.
they're a dude.
I think she's a woman.
I think she's I
I think she's a woman that's taken steroids a couple times. I don't think.
No. I'm just talking about mentally. I'm talking
Yeah, I think-
about like you think. Not just her, but a lot of fighters that I look at, and I'm like, oh yeah, that
like
that chick in her
can,
mind,
she would navigate the world as a man.
if she could like hit a switch and turn into a dude, she'd be Brock Lesnar or something.
Nah, I mean, I don't know. I've never really seen her or talked to her. So
Yeah, I mean, just a bunch in general. Like I've seen like in MMA where I'm like, oh yeah, this chick. There's like a boxer girl right now that looks like a dude that is destroying people.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
I think it's like anything else. There's a broad spectrum of
Right.
humanity, and there's some girls are super like masculine and like rough, and some dudes are super feminine and soft. It's
I
like,
grew up around all of it, so I
yeah,
get it.
but like you'll see a guy that just has soft features, can't grow a beard. Like you just be like, oh, that he looks like a teenage girl, but he's still a guy. You know what I mean?
He's got all
even
the-
though he's just extremely feminine tendencies or whatever, it's still a man. Like, but I'm just saying, like biologically, I assume he has a dick and balls.
Right. But I really think that the whatever communities that you're an ally of should be made aware of your status.
I'm an ally of all people.
No, but I'm glad that you're coming out with this statement.
Coming out.
Hey-oh. Yeah, with this statement that you're an ally to a lot, clearly not the queer, but everyone else.
If we could also get a listener to tell us what queer means,
Yeah, it's a good question. I don't know what it means.
because it gets
either.
thrown around a lot.
Yeah, I don't know.
But I think we could shorten that whole thing just to G.
G. All right.
You know.
Non-hetero.
No, because you can't say. He get offended if you say G. Like if you say B, it's G.
Everybody gets offended at everything.
I
though.
know, that's why it's so sensitive.
And the rules change. Like how do
Right.
nobody sends me the book?
No, I mean,
Well, definitely L's are G.
I don't know.
Why?
Lesbians are gay.
Okay, that makes sense. But the B is that bi?
Yes.
B is bi.
So they'll say like they're both bi. Which see, that's where it gets confusing.
Yeah.
It's a puzzle.
Yeah.
Well,
So you had
Black
that-
people are guilty of that too. We want to be Negroes at one point.
man.
It's just like then we don't want to be something
thank
else.
God.
We want to be black. We want to be African American. We don't know.
oh man,
Man, you really brought the subject matter today, huh?
It's deep.
that was a good one.
Yeah. I can't wait to start producing the rainbow flag memes for this one.
Oh,
Tim
nice.
Carpenter.
Pride Month is over. We gotta wait till next year.
No. We're just for this episode.
Pride year.
Pride year.
Pride
Hey,
year.
and you should probably put those stickers on your school. The LBGTQ ally
but
sticker.
I don't want to like. I don't support anybody's sexuality. You know what I mean? I don't support yours or his.
It's like you don't think about it.
I don't support what you do. I mean, I hope that you're having fun, but I don't support it. You know what I mean? Like I don't.
I don't understand what the fuck you're talking about. What do you mean?
I don't
you
want to put a picture up
of
saying that
I support straight people.
that this gym is in favor of any sexual activities. That like sexual activity is
so-
separate from the gym.
Gotcha, but that's all. It's a going back to our talk a little bit about cultures and rites of passage and all these other things is, I'm not no expert, but I don't know if you that's part of a culture too, isn't it? Isn't there a gay culture, a lesbian culture, a trans culture?
Oh, you're the expert.
No, I just said 2 seconds ago that I'm not. Right, so it's not just because you're gay, or you're lesbian, or you're trans, or you're queer, or whatever. Your identity isn't just sex.
Then what is it?
I don't know.
I don't know either.
Yeah,
But
you're making it only sex. So you the ally of the LGBTQA society, right, is saying that what defines people that are LGBTQA, and it gets long, it gets lettery, is just the act of the sexual act is what defines them.
Isn't what makes somebody gay their sexual attraction to the same sex?
I don't know. Tell me.
That's it, right?
That's it.
So that's their sexual, what they're like. So
Home is normal. Everything's normal.
right, everything they're just
Everything else
they're
is the
completely normal people, which I support everybody that's a normal person,
Okay.
but I don't support anybody's specific sexual preferences. I don't want to exclude anybody. What if there's a guy that's into microphones?
All right, that's enough.
All right. So look, we're gonna have to get to a part 2 of this, so you
Okay,
can come back with better answers and not be so easily painted into a corner. All right.
I'm not in any corner. I support everybody.
No, but you're like
like I said, I don't want to
really
bring.
appreciate.
I don't want to bring any sort of sexual stuff into. I don't want to broadcast any sexual things in my gym. It's not a place for sex.
We just literally just broadcasted about LGBTQA though, which is sexual, according to you, sexual by its very nature. The only thing that defines these people is their sexuality.
That's what you're saying?
That's what you're saying.
No, I'm just saying I don't want to have a rainbow in my gym because I don't want to support
No, I
certain
didn't say
sexual
rainbow,
activities.
but you could just have like the letters, L, G. Would you put something like that up?
No, nothing about sex in the gym.
He wouldn't put a grayscale version of a rainbow either that supports like straight people.
Okay.
Neither.
All right, man.
He just supports jujitsu.
I just want people to know you're an ally. That's all.
I mean, my record speaks for itself. I've had 4 transgender students.
How many of them are still with you?
None of them.
Okay, yeah, man, you got a hell of a record with that community.
Well, I would say that community has a hell of a record with not being able to make, not being able to stick with things.
Well, I don't know, man. Depending on the one person really made a big commitment.
Very committed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, let's move on to another very deep subject.
Favorite martial arts films?
Questions from the crowd. What are your favorite martial arts films, not documentaries? Kent Conway, Hellfish Purple Belt. I had to go with Bloodsport.
I was gonna say that too.
Yeah, that's why I jumped in front of you.
So we were at the gym the other day. We were talking about like Bruce Lee's like doing submissions and stuff, and then like I was wondering, is John Wick considered a martial arts movie?
That's a good question because I think he's been training jiu-jitsu. Is it a martial arts movie or he does martial arts in the movie?
He does martial arts a lot.
But would you consider it a martial arts movie?
It's a shooting people movie.
Okay.
It's an action.
So I never saw it, so I didn't. But I know
it wouldn't be in the karate section of
okay.
Blockbuster.
Everybody talks about all the jiu-jitsu in it, so. But I would say Bloodsport too. Bloodsport's the one that kind of. Bloodsport's the one that kind of is like the forerunner of MMA. You know what I mean? The Kumite was like all different styles.
Man, wasn't the Kumite awesome?
Yeah.
The Kumite was great.
Everybody thought it was real. Everybody thought Frank Dukes was a real guy.
Wow, if we get started on it, man, if LGBTQA started a rabbit hole, Frank Dukes.
Put a D on there?
Man, talk about a fraud.
Yeah. But it was a great movie still.
Awesome movie.
So I would say that one. I really like The Perfect Weapon with Speakman.
Jeff Speakman, yeah. I loved it when he used the sticks.
And then Seagal's, like we were talking at the gym the other day, Seagal's first 4 movies, like Above the Law, Hard to Kill, Out for Justice.
Which one
Under
was he looking
Siege.
for Joey Zaza?
Out for Justice, I believe.
Okay.
Yeah, that was a great one.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So Seagal's early stuff. But those are the only ones. And even Seagal, like Out for Justice wasn't a martial arts movie.
Right.
It was like a mob movie with a keto guy.
Yeah, so Kent, Bloodsport. Recommend it to
yeah.
your friends. The documentary
doesn't really hold up though.
No?
Bloodsport? No.
I haven't watched it in a while.
They should remake it. That would be cool.
Who would you put as Frank Dukes?
GSP.
Say the same thing. Dang it. Did you see this?
Bagel Boss?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So the next question. This is
Hold on. I'm offended. There's no Last Dragon in here.
No.
No.
Is that the
Bruce Leroy?
That's
Yeah,
that's a good movie, but it's not a good martial arts movie. Like
I never watched a lot of karate movies. So now I will watch a bunch of ninja movies. Sho Kosugi, that's my guy.
Yeah, I don't. I guess it is a martial arts movie, but it's too silly. You know what I mean? It's like a parody of a martial arts movie.
It is.
You know what I mean? But it's a well done. You ever see Shaun of the Dead?
See, I don't listen. No. I know exactly what that is. But
So
for
it's
black
like
people, he's more important than Bruce Lee. Bruce Leroy. Bruce Leroy is way more important than Bruce Lee.
All right. Sorry to Dev and the black community, but we did not shout out Bruce Leroy.
That's all right. It's his favorite.
All right, cool. Can you analyze the takedown technique from the Bagel Boss video? What is your favorite bagel flavor? I'd like to start off with my favorite bagel flavor as the everything bagel.
Yeah, I like the cinnamon raisin.
That's like a dessert bagel almost.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, all bagels are like dessert. It's like eating a fucking cake
You know how they make bagels?
with like yeast and flour and stuff.
Yeah, but I believe they boil the flour before they bake it.
Yeah.
That's what makes it a bagel, which is interesting. And if anybody doesn't know, there was some shorter guy at a bagel store, goes off. He basically looks like an incel, act like an incel, and goes up to some dude, maybe about your size. He's like, "I'll punch you," and then out of nowhere, some guy just
You got it all wrong.
wait.
So he was yelling at the people behind the counter.
Yes.
And then he yelled at a woman. He was talking about like how short women on dating sites hate short guys. And he's screaming about it.
And the woman says, "What does that have to do with this?"
Right. And then he got in one guy's face.
Yes.
And that guy just like kind of stood there. And then there was a guy like way in the back, and he like pointed at him. He's like, "You shut up." He's like,
and he
he's
comes
like,
charging.
He said, "I'm not scared of
Yeah.
you, pal." He's like, "Go ahead and attack me." And then the guy attacked him, which is one of my favorite things.
Because it was like, do you guys remember the Office linebacker Terry Tate?
Yes.
The commercials with Terry Tate. It was like one of those things.
Yeah. But the guy was like 5 feet tall.
Maybe less.
Maybe five.
Yeah.
Maybe five.
He'd be happy to be 5 feet.
And I don't know how big that other guy was because like
Comparatively speaking, he was 6'6".
right. But he just gripped him up by the shirt and pushed him over.
Did you see the post interview? He goes, "It was like having a heavy turtle on me."
Yeah.
It was bags. It was like three bags of sugar.
Bags of sugar. Yeah.
He
said it was like 3-pound bags of sugar, which is not that much weight to have on your back.
I think he misspoke.
Yeah.
Do you know
even a turtle on your back is not heavy?
maybe one of those big turtles, one of those like 300-year-old turtles,
I don't think they're
or 100-year-old turtles?
Yeah, I think those are tortoises.
Turtle, tortoise, tomato. Did you see he's doing celebrity boxing against another Damon? One of the Feldman signed him.
Damon Wayans?
Damon Feldman.
Oh, that's good. Hopefully it's a bare knuckle.
But yeah, so the technique was great if you like the spear, Goldberg spear.
Who sent this question in?
It was anonymous. It was through Gorilla Mail.
Fucking questions, man.
All right, next one. They've requested that you read it. Go ahead.
Yeah. Is this another anonymous one?
No. I'll tell you who it is at the end.
Why?
It's addressed to me, but
Yeah.
can you please read
Marco, why do you think this week's episode with NJ hosting was so much better than all your other episodes? Is it because NJ is a smart, articulate, and interesting person, and you relate to that much better? Please have Tim read this on the air.
it? Your friend, Bob Herman.
Yeah, I know.
Your old roommate.
He's still mad about
Bruce Lee.
the Bruce Lee thing.
Yeah, he's been flooding the email too
Yeah,
with different questions, and like he gets on the show once a week.
man.
Yeah, he really let you have it.
I think we need to have him on.
Bob Herman.
Yeah, so people can see who's who's sending these questions.
So hopefully we can get Jerry on too. That would be amazing. Jerry, Bobby.
We should do a road trip to Chicago with all those guys.
I'm down. We will record from the car.
Yeah,
All right.
8-hour podcast. We'll stream it live.
All right, folks. We're coming to the end of the podcast. So to reiterate, Tim is a ally inwardly to the LGBTQA societies and peoples. Outwardly, he's not quite sure. Well, no, he is sure. He's just not.
Sure.
Anyway, man, this was great. It's great to have you back.
It's great to be back.
And we're really touching on, for a martial arts podcast, we really hit some heady stuff.
Yeah, I think it was a good one.
Yeah, started off slow. You still jet lagged.
No, you know what's funny is I got the jet lag on when I got there. I was like super tired for the first couple days. Felt great when I came back. And Nikki was the opposite.
Really?
She was like dead for like 3
Maybe
days.
that
when
was
she
it.
got back.
Maybe that's what's holding her back.
What's that?
From
The jet lag?
yeah, could be travel. I don't know what travel does to the ovaries.
I don't either.
Listen, rate, review, Apple Podcasts, iTunes. Thank you all for listening.
Instagram.
Peace. Tim and I would like to thank our sound engineer and studio owner, Devin Wade, for always doing a great job with the sound, but also the beautiful facility that we get to use here at SFX Studios. We'd also like to thank Eddie Lynn, who takes and donates his time to the podcast to do all the video editing and everything you see on our social media. So really appreciate that from Eddie Lynn. And we'd also like to thank our friend Ralphie Darden, a.k.a. DJ Major Taylor, who gave us the original music that we use. So you're welcome, Tim. For
And almost just as importantly as everybody else that he mentioned, we would like to thank all of our listeners that submitted questions.
This is the Ninja Rob Podcast with Marco Perazzo and Tim Carpenter. The podcast for the true martial artist.